national hero, astronaut Jim Lovell.
Houston, we have a problem. This is the punchline to many jokes. Uh-oh, I lost my homework. Houston, we have a problem. But where did this phrase originate? I mean, who actually said it? Was it Simon Cowell? Tiger Woods? How about Lady Gaga? Nope, it's none of the above. It's the commander of Apollo 13 and Lake Forest resident, Captain James Lovell. He may not have achieved his goal of walking on the moon, but he did something better. He survived in a broken-down metal cone in space with limited power for over 4 days. Even if it was a failure, Apollo 13 is perhaps one of the most successful failures ever. James Arthur Lovell was born on March 25, 1928 in Cleveland, Ohio. Unfortunately, his dad died in a car crash when Captain Lovell was young. He was later married and had 4 children. Imagine having Astro Dad. It must be pretty fun to know that your dad's flying around up there in a spaceship. Now imagine having Astro Spouse. It must be pretty hard to know that the person you love you may never see again. Captain Lovell was well educated. I mean, if you want to be a test pilot and then you're going to fly up into space, yeah, you're going to need a lot of schooling. After graduating from the University of Wisconsin, he spent several years at test pilot school and aviation school. He received numerous honorary doctorates. As a test pilot, Captain Lovell logged over 7,000 hours of flight time and spent 3,500 of those hours in jet aircraft. In 1962, his colleagues elected him to become an astronaut. Imagine being elected by your own peers to become an astronaut. He must have been one of the most hard-working pilots of them all. Even though he's been admitted into the space program, he's still far away from being the one-day captain of Apollo 13. He started doing backup duties in the Gemini missions, which meant if an astronaut was unable to perform tasks, Captain Lovell would step in and complete them for him. He was a backup pilot in Gemini 4 and a backup commander in Gemini 9. In 1965, he and Frank Borman were launched in the historic Gemini 7 flight, which lasted almost 14 days. He commanded the Gemini 12 flight with pilot Edwin Buzz Aldrin and served as the pilot and navigator on the Apollo 8 flight. On April 11, 1970, he would command his 4th mission, Apollo 13. Little did he know the fate of that mission. When people hear the name Lovell, they think of a spaceship that nearly crashed and burned. When the pilot, Jack Swigert, was going through his normal routine, an oxygen tank exploded, sending the ship spiraling off course. It was then and there that Captain Lovell said, "Houston, we have a problem." The mission was planned to go for 10 days, but it was cut short immediately. Power was limited, so they had to choose their mechanical equipment wisely. They built an oxygen tank out of everyday items, like a sock, to keep the carbon dioxide level from becoming deadly. To get enough speed and power to go back to Earth, they used the moon's gravitational force as a slingshot. Meanwhile, the guys backstage, Mission Control, were helping the men through the whole thing. If it wasn't for them, the astronauts would have died from carbon monoxide poisoning. On April 17th, the re-entry capsule, a small part of the ship with a heat shield, hit the ocean and the astronauts were lifted into helicopters and transported back to base. Captain Lovell will always be remembered because of that fateful mission. Now let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, he's not dead. He left the Navy and Space Program in 1973. After completing the Advanced Management Program at the Harvard Business School, he went on to a successful business career. In 1991, he retired and now runs a restaurant here in Lake Forest called Lovell's. And by the way, I heard the food there is out of this world. Lady Gaga may be the fame monster. Tiger Woods is in the paper for other reasons. Simon Cowell, I'm not sure how he got famous by being mean and British, but he somehow managed. But did they orbit the moon? No. Did they pilot a broken spaceship back to Earth? No. They are not real heroes. Captain James Arthur Lovell is a real hero. He ran 4 missions into space. He piloted the severely damaged Apollo 13 spaceship back to Earth, and now lives here in Lake Forest. When you think of American heroes, think of Captain James Lovell.